Welcome to Myers Metal Detectors, located in sunny Tampa, Florida, where we sell nothing but fun and adventures, treasure hunting gear, and anything you can imagine for metal detecting. Give us a call, 813-237-1939. Happy hunting and dig deeper.
Live from sunny Florida, it's Treasure Talk.
Welcome, folks.
Welcome indeed. Welcome indeed. It's Christmas time.
It is Christmas time. I should have put on my Christmas hat.
You probably can't find it.
No, it's here somewhere. It's probably
That's why I mean you probably can't find it.
I can't find it. That's right.
Because Big Poppy probably straightened stuff up. And
oh yeah, he's always fixing everything up. But I did want to say Merry Christmas to everyone. And
yes, indeed.
And all the people everywhere, Merry Christmas. And if you still got to get something, I'm going to be in here tomorrow morning for a little bit, so you can call me. Oh, and I also want to remind folks that January 1st, the metal detecting prices on metal detectors and gear are going up. I'm getting notices from the manufacturers. Like I know the Manticore is now going to be $17.99. That's $100 more. So if you want to get one at the old price, and they have a really good price right now, it's $11.99. If you wanted to get one, it just has the stock coil and the wireless headphones. That would be. Oh, I'm bouncing.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
Yeah, let's leave it like that. I don't know what's going on, but
yeah,
we just need to.
I'm not
like this.
So anyway, if you're interested in one of those detectors, you better grab them quick, because the prices all the manufacturers do all jump on the same bandwagon at the same time. And January 1st, they'll be going up. And they've got some excellent deals right now with their Christmas specials with this accessories that come with them. You want to jump on it quick. I still got plenty of inventory on the Manticore and on the Elites and on the Naka products, the Legends and the Triple Score. That's been a popular unit. And I guess I better quit my rambling here.
Ramble on.
I did want to remind folks that I got these. This is an out-of-print book. If you're here in Florida and you collect Florida tokens, this is an out-of-print book, and I think I have 5 of them left. And those are $49.95. And that's an excellent resource if you're a token collector. So just remind folks of that. And then I guess I better get started with our housekeeping.
Yes.
Okay. As always, today's show is brought to you by your friends at Myers Metal Detectors, where we sell fun and adventure. And the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed here by the Treasure Talk guest and member belong solely to the guest and member, not necessarily to Phil Myers, Jocelyn Myers, Myers Metal Detectors, or Jeff Monin.
Truism.
And of course, the purpose of Treasure Talk is to promote the hobby of metal detecting and treasure hunting in all forms, and to educate our members in a fun, informative manner.
And we do that, and we're going to really do it tonight. It's going to be a really good show.
Yes, I'm excited about this, especially with talking with Nick, about what they do. It's just really a neat part of the hobby, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be really good. I've got a couple things I want to talk about first. Okay. In the new year, we're going to start some new stuff, and we're planning on starting in March. It's going to be a new segment. It's going to be called Treasure Talk Digging Report. And what we're going to do, we're going to have people from all around the country. And the first Monday of every month is going to be the Treasure Talk Digging Report. And we're going to have people from around the country, like I said, and we're going to go to them, and they're going to give you a digging report on that area of the country. All right, let's just say, for instance, we're going to be doing the Treasure Coast. Okay, we're going to have Terry Shannon and Fred Banke as our bureau chiefs down on the Treasure Coast. So that's going to be good. They're going to tell you everything that's going on. It's not about what they're finding. It's about what everybody's finding, digging conditions, If there's new detectors out and they know people that have had them, how they're finding them and that kind of stuff. It's going to be all around the country, even in Canada. So it ought to be a good segment, I think. I hope you will enjoy that. Also, that brings me to one other thing. What I would like for you to do, some friends of ours, P&W dirt fishing out in Oregon. Tiffany is now in the hospital awaiting some major surgery. She's had complications before this surgery. She's pretty down, and there's a chance that she may not pull through. What I would like for everybody to do is to join me right now for a moment of silence with a prayer for Tiffany for good results and healing for the future with her surgery and her health and ongoing prayers. So if you would please, let's just bow our heads for those that want and pray with me and Philip for P&W dirt fishing, if you will, please. Thank you very much, everybody. That's just what I wanted to do. So now let's get on with the show, shall we?
Yes.
Ready, Philip?
I'm ready.
Okay, you were born ready, weren't you?
I am ready.
Yeah, the heater's on, you're warm and ready to rock and sock.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Our guest from tonight is, this is going to be a killer show. You're going to love it. If you like any kind of militaria, especially ancient militaria, this is the guy that you want to talk to. I think he's got a book. I'm not sure, but we're going to find out. We were talking briefly in the green room before we went on live, and he's got some great stories and some very interesting stuff that you're going to be amazed at. So let's bring on our guest all the way from the UK, and let's give him a big round of applause because he stayed up late. It's late over there. It's about 5 hours. It's midnight or something, 1 o'clock. So let's bring on Nick West. Hi, Nick.
Good evening. Welcome. How are you?
We're great. We're glad you're on here with us.
Yeah, it's not that late. It's only midnight.
It's all. That's my bedtime. That's when I go to bed.
No, about 3 o'clock for me.
Okay, so Nick, Jeff was saying, do you have a book?
Yes, I have a book. I've written a book about military buttons. It's all the British military buttons ever made from 1800s up to the present day. I would say it started as a labour of love, and it ended up nearly putting me in a mental institution. I didn't realise how many there were.
How many there are? Yes.
There's thousands.
They're all different types, and we find some over here in the U.S. too. And some of the older ones, the Revolutionary War stuff. There you go. Oh, that's an awesome book. And is that available over here in the States? Is it?
You can. It's on eBay.
eBay. Okay.
Yeah. I wrote it, and all the money goes to our charity, which is the Military Heritage Museum, which is a charity me and some friends set up, and we go around the country displaying military items, promoting the hobby of metal detecting, and trying to get kids interested in history rather than sitting on PlayStations and video games.
Right.
And
is there? I wonder. Is there any way that you could get that book for the shop, Phil?
Yeah, I guess get it off of eBay from.
Yeah, well, we could. If you want to send me an email, we can sort something out.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because it's. I know here in the States, a lot of people collect buttons, military buttons, and they run across British buttons. I've seen a lot found here, because we have sites here in Florida from the early 1800s, and those British here too. So it's very interesting. And then, of course, all the folks who hunt up north find them all the time from the Revolutionary War period on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually working on another book now, and that's all about First World War and Second World War military items that detectorists find throughout Europe.
Yeah,
So,
that was really cool. The story you told us, and why don't you tell the folks about finding the pilot that you told us?
oh, that wasn't me. That was some of the guys in our group. So they were out detecting in France, in Normandy, and they were just detecting. They got a signal, and it was just on the edge of a woodland, and so it was covered in like leaf mold, very fine, and it's brushing it away. They didn't even use shovels; they were just using their hands to brush away this really fine earth. And up comes the face of a pilot, and it was like he'd gone to sleep the night before. All the skin was intact. The only thing that wasn't there was color. And you know, they actually thought it was a murder victim because the skin was still on him. And this was only, I think it was 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. They found all the crew bar one so far, and they're still looking for him. But we'll find him. We'll find him.
Yeah,
And get him returned, get him back to his loved ones.
and he was a pilot of the
B-29 bomber.
B-29 bomber.
Yeah,
So,
Liberator, I think they call it.
Yeah, so that's.
I'm not keyed up on aircraft. I do army, not aircraft.
Yeah, well, it used to be in our army was the Army Air Corps.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we had quite a few stations just down the road from me.
Yeah, so that's an impressive story. I'm sure the family members were happy to get the remains.
Yeah, they were very happy. They've all been buried in the cemetery at Omaha.
Oh, neat. So does that happen a lot there in France or in England?
Yes, yeah, it does. Not so much in England, but out in France, Belgium, Holland, Germany, it's all the time. Especially with the First World War. If they're putting a new road through somewhere where the First World War battlefields are, they know they're going to come across dead. There's that many that are still unburied.
there's tons of them.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate, but there were.
Yeah,
just like on the beaches at Normandy. I've been to the beaches at Normandy, and it's a very, very humbling experience. It's a huge, wide beach, and you look at it, and if you think about those guys,
you wonder how they did
ashore, how did they do it? And there's a lot of them that got massacred. There's just no way it wouldn't. The Germans had to high ground, and I mean, it was just like
Well, if you've been there, you know what Omaha's like. We've got the only surviving MG-42 machine gun from Omaha Beach in our collection. So you've seen the opening scenes of Saving Private Ryan, where they're just being killed with machine gun fire. It's from one of those machine guns, and we've got the only intact surviving one left in existence.
Well, I imagine you've got a lot of really interesting items.
Yeah, we go back to we've got stuff from the Greeks when they were fighting with slingshots and arrows. What they used to do is they used to pour lead into a peach. So they'd cut a peach in half, take the stone out, put the peach back together, put a hole in it, pour the lead in, and that would be the slingshot. That would be the shot for the sling. And they'd bore a hole through it. So when they were whizzing it around like this and then letting it go, it would whistle. So you can imagine 600 of those coming over at you at once.
I can just imagine.
It'd be like a stupor.
Yeah.
So we've got stuff that far back. Not much of that, a few arrowheads and that. Then we go up to 1066. So that was when the French invaded England. So the Battle of Hastings. And so there was only ever 2 axe heads have ever been found from that battle. And hang on a second. There's
Oh
one.
my goodness.
So how
That is a Saxon axe head used at the Battle of Hastings.
and how old would that be?
Well, 1066. So
66. Okay.
So 1066, I don't know. I can't do the maths without a calculator.
Well, it'd be almost 1,000 years.
Nearly 1,000 years old, yeah.
Almost 1,000.
Yeah.
Boy,
That wasn't dug up by me. That was ploughed up by the farmer, and he utilized it. He actually put a new handle on it.
and used it.
And when I went to ask permission to detect his fields, he was chopping wood with this. So it was still in use.
Yes, and can you imagine facing off against somebody with that come running after you with that?
That is so heavy.
It is.
We've had it. They do X-ray fluorescent spectrometry. We've had that done on this, and they dated this to 2 years before 1066.
So you said 2 of those have been found,
Only 2 have ever been found.
and the question that Ricky T asked: are those often found with a metal detector? Was the other one found with a metal detector, or
No,
was
the other one was found when they were putting the new road in.
put the road in?
Yeah. There's not many people allowed to metal detect up on that site because it was an ancient battle site. But yeah, we're lucky to have that. I'll put that down there because it's heavy.
Yeah.
But I've been detecting for 56 years. I started when I was 8, so you can work out how old I am. I've detected in 32 countries now, including yours. The Battle of Antietam.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so powder flask
Powder flask. That's
from the
exactly.
Battle of Antietam.
That's neat.
That I dug up when I was 19 years old,
Yeah.
back in 1979.
Yeah, that's really cool for sure.
Yeah.
And it looks like we got a question from the Prospecting Mule, and he's asking, do you have any recommendations for paid hunts in England, Scotland, or Wales? I guess the groups that, you can pay for a trip to come over.
It depends what you're looking for, because most detectorists over here are looking for older stuff than I look for. I look for military stuff mainly, World War II and World War One. It depends. There are so many good groups out there. You've just got to basically do your homework, and ask some questions. Your best bet is to go on to the Big Detecting Show and put the question in their comments. They have every Thursday night at 8 o'clock our time. So I don't know what that would be your time.
That's probably about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. So that's a really good show. Really good show.
Cool. And we have this one from Sam Truckley. What do you use now to metal detect? Well, tell us a little history of what different detectors you've used over your detecting career.
Christ, I've gone through so many. I started off with something called a Coin Master, which had one switch on it that turned it on, and that was the volume as well. There was no discrimination. That was it, just one switch. It was turn on and go. That I had for a couple of years. Then I moved on to, I can't think what it was, a Compass. It was called a Compass, which is a British company. I've gone through all different, like I say, I've been doing it 56 years. I must have gone through 50 detectors,
Hmm.
all different types. But at the moment, I'm using the Nocta Legend, which is, I find, for the money, it's a fantastic machine.
Oh, it is an awesome detector. What coil do you use on it most?
We use the biggest one you can get.
The 13-inch coil?
Yeah, um, because we have a lot of ground to cover.
Okay.
When you're out on a battle site, you it's you know they're huge. Um, and we tend to do is there'll be seven of us, and we split the field into seven strips, and we all hunt our own strip and work all the way up, then move on to the next field. And we've all basically got virtually the same detector. There's one or two that got mine labs, but everyone else has got Nocta.
Okay. Now, your typical hunt, is it there in England or is it over in France?
France.
France.
I do hunt in England, but it's getting more difficult to get land owners to agree to let you go on,
Hmm.
especially the sites that we're hunting because of the live explosives.
Oh, yeah.
So, out in France, they don't give a monkeys. They just let you, they're glad to get it off their land.
Right. So you're
Um,
finding live ordnance and
yeah, but we always have an ordnance explosive guy with us,
oh, okay.
ex-army ordnance with us. So anything that we dig up that is live, he can then deal with it. We phone the police, they come and sort it out.
Okay. And when you're in France, so you're digging World War One and Two. Uh,
Mainly World War Two. That is my interest. D-Day is my interest, and the Battle of Normandy. So I concentrate on that. But we get called to go to the First World War battlefields and help with the retrieval of the fallen. We don't video it like a lot of groups do because we feel it's a private thing. You know, I
yeah, I
wouldn't
can
want
understand
I
that.
wouldn't want my relatives being shown being dug up.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I
you
get
know,
that for sure.
it's it is a private thing.
Mhm. Now,
Um,
in the World War One stuff, or is that like the trench wars? Is that why you
yes,
find more
yeah,
bodies?
yeah, a lot more. This is a sort of thing we dig up. So that's a German First World War hand grenade.
Okay.
And it's it's totally safe. There's nothing in it. It's empty. But that's the kind of things we dig up. And badges, buttons. I love digging the badges and the buttons because it's more personal. You know the soldier has actually touched it, rather than a hand grenade or a rifle, which we find so many of. We're putting them back in the soil now because we've got too many.
Hmm. Jeez. Hey, we did have a question from Ricky T, and he's asking, what was the scariest thing you've dug up?
It's a phosphorus hand grenade. They made them for the Home Guard. Now the Home Guard, I don't know if any of your viewers will have seen a program the BBC put out called Dad's Army. It literally was old men and young boys waiting for the Germans to invade, and they would have bread knives taped or tied to the end of broomsticks. They might have a shotgun, and they were just waiting for the Germans to invade. And they slowly went from that into a proper fighting force that was just there to defend the homeland.
Hmm.
They were supplied with these bottles, the size of a pint milk bottle. Now, that was at the bottom, it had phosphorus in it. On top, it had benzene and a rubber tube going down through the benzene into the phosphorus. Now, the benzene would melt the rubber tube and make it go and and it would all mix with the phosphorus, and it would just turn into like a jelly. So when they threw the bottle at a tank, it would this gel would stick to the tank, but it would burn at about 1,000 degrees and cook anyone that was inside. Of course, you stick a shovel in the ground and break one of these things, they go off
Oh, geez.
because
That's dangerous.
phosphorus doesn't like the air.
Yeah. So we have a question from
That's the
Shannon.
scariest thing I've ever found.
Okay.
Shannon Bortner wants to know: do you return the items to the family, or do you
Yes,
try to find them?
all the time. If we can trace them, we do. We've traced no British dog tags because all the British dog tags were made out of a fibrous material and they just rot away. But we've returned a lot of American dog tags.
Oh, cool.
Lots.
You want to take this one, Phil?
Yeah, this is from Mike Dirty Paul's Detecting, and he's asking, have you ever found any trench art?
Right. Trench art, a lot of the trench art, everyone thinks it was made by the soldiers in the trenches. They made a few bits, and not many. Most of the trench art was made by the local villagers after the war from all the shell casings that were just laying around. And they thought because so many people were coming to see where the war happened, they would make a few quid out of it. So most trench art was actually made after the war. So
the scrap metal that was laying around.
Yeah. All of the shell casings that were laying around, there was millions of them.
Yeah.
So they put them to good use. So not many. They used to make lighters. The soldiers used to make lighters out of cartridge cases, but that was about it. They didn't make most of the trench art was made after the war by the civilian population in the area where the war happened.
Yeah, and then I guess they sold it as souvenirs to people coming to visit.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah. Now, I know you find a lot of ordnance and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you find weapons?
Oh, weapon by the bucket load. We've Lee Enfield rifles, Garands, M1 carbines, Lugers, Smythers. You name a gun, we found it. And we've got them in the museum. Like I said, we've got that many now. When we're digging them, we're actually putting them back. We've got too many. We've got nowhere to put them.
Now tell us more about your museum.
The museum is it's a mobile museum, so we've got a secure location where we've got about £1 million worth of exhibits. Now we go out and visit schools, cadet units, scout groups, colleges, universities, Rotary clubs, even Masons. So we go all over, giving them talks, promoting the hobby, showing them the items, give them talks on whatever they want the talk on. So they might want the talk on the home front. So we take all the air raid protection and the home guard stuff along. They might want a talk on the build up to D-Day. So we take all that stuff along. But we also do big military fairs. We are the biggest pop-up military museum in the UK.
Have you ever thought about going to some of the metal detecting rallies like Detective All and stuff like that and setting up?
We did the Rodney Cook this year. And people loved it. And one guy came in and we had a display of different ammunition that had been used throughout time, going back to 1400s right up to 1940s. And this one guy came in, he said, I've had something rattling around in the back of my car for about a year now. He said, could you tell me what it is? I said, well, if you go and get it, yeah, I'll be able to identify it for you. So he brought it in and he went to his car, brought it back to the big marquee where we were set up, pulled it out his pocket, and he's got a live phosphorus shell in his pocket. So our main aim with detectorists is trying to educate them on the dangers.
Yes, I
Because
see.
okay, in America, you're not likely to come across this stuff so much as we do.
Right.
So, and
Um,
so many detectorists, and especially the new detectorists that are getting into the hobby, haven't a clue what they're digging and
yeah.
the dangers that are under their feet.
Mm.
Well, we've got a question here from Angie, and she's from the UK, as a matter of fact. And what is the best thing you have found, Nick? And what's the find that's had the most emotional effect on you?
Oh, that's good questions. Right. The best thing I ever found was an Enigma machine.
Ah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So that was in Russia. So I got invited to Russia to go out and dig. And so, yeah, why not? So I said to my wife, we'll get on off to Russia to go detecting. Yeah, go and enjoy yourself. And so out there, we drove for about 3 hours. I'm not kidding you. We were just driving through fields for about 3 hours, dirt tracks. And I thought, this guy's going to murder me. I haven't got a clue. I've never met this guy before. And I'm thinking, where the hell is he taking me? And we stopped and he says, this is a good place. So, okay. So detector's out. He starts walking over one direction. I start walking the other direction. And I see this dip in the ground. And so I got the detector going. Straight away, I get a signal. I think, no, can't be straight away. So just take it off, reset, come back. Yeah, there's a signal. So start digging. I came up with a live 88 millimeter round. So I thought, oh, and I pulled it out of the ground, thinking I'm just going to put that to one side. I'm not going to touch it. You know, it's live. As I pull it out of the ground, it's got a wire attached to it, a steel wire. And I thought, oh God, it's a booby trap. So I've got with the trowel on going along, following this wire for about an hour till I came to another shell. And then there's another cable going off. And I follow that cable and I came to this box. It was the Enigma machine.
Gee.
And I said to the guy, I said, are you interested? No, not interested. I want buttons, badges, and medals. Not interested in that. So I knew I wouldn't get it out of the country. I just knew there's no way I was getting that out of Russia. So I asked him if he knew any collectors and said that were rich. And he said, I know two very rich collectors. I said, get them to my hotel room tonight. And they bid on it. And I ended up taking away £50,000. And I got the next plane out of Russia. That was the best find.
I would think so. Now, this
The
is a
most
good.
the most emotional. We returned some dog tags to an American Air Force captain, and at the time, yeah, he was still alive, and he'd come over for the 70th anniversary of D-Day,
Oh, geez.
and that was emotional.
Yeah.
Yes, I
That
would
really
think it
was.
would be.
I'll get a lump in my throat now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we have a question from Kane Digger and says, do you also find in return German soldiers and their items?
We, funny enough, I found a German machine gun about 4 miles down the road from where I am now. After lots of research, I found out that it was from a plane that had crashed there, and did all the research. And this was when I was, oh God, I must have been 14, 15 at the time. I did all this research, found out that this plane had crashed there, and I went and saw this lady down the road who was German. And I said to her, I'm trying to find the pilot. Can you help me? And bless her heart, she got so involved and we found the pilot of this plane. And after the war, he'd bailed out of the plane. Oh, sorry, he'd got his crew to bail out of the plane. He'd stayed in the plane and crash landed it, because the radio operator was trapped in the plane. So he stayed and crash landed it to try and save the radio operator, which they all survived. All the crew members survived. But after the war, when they went home after the war, he saw what Germany had done with the concentration camps and everything that they'd done, and he was so disgusted he became a monk.
Hmm.
And we traced him and went and met him and told him what we'd found, showed him pictures of it. He wasn't impressed at all that we'd dug this up. He wasn't at all impressed, but he told us the whole story, which we've got. We've got the photos of him, but that was really interesting.
I imagine.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
it's
But
history.
I met one of your generals on Utah Beach back in 1974 when I was at the tender age of 14. My father had taken me over to Normandy. I said I wanted to lay a wreath on each of the beaches at roughly the time that they came into each of the beaches. So he said, okay, we'll start with Utah because that's where they first landed because of the tides. So we're up there. I've got a wreath of poppies and I'm walking down the beach to lay the wreath and a helicopter lands. Oh, 600-700 yards away, all the sand's being kicked up. Door opens and two of the shiniest soldiers I've ever seen. They were immaculate. And the shiniest boots I've ever seen on anyone. They came running over to me and said, the general wants to see you. Now, as a 14-year-old, I'm thinking, oh God, what have I done now? I don't know what I've done wrong. So they walked me over to the helicopter and it was Omar Bradley standing in the doorway of the helicopter. And he asked me what I was doing. I said, laying a wreath. Told him we were going to go to each beach and he asked if he could lay the wreath with me. So I walked down to the beach with Omar Bradley, laid the wreath, stood there, minute silence, and he said, how are you getting to each of the beaches? And I said, my father's taking me in our car. And he said, do you mind if I come? And I said, well, the back seat's full of all our camping equipment because we were camping. And he said, no, we're going the helicopter. And we flew to every beach. So I flew to every beach with Omar Bradley.
Oh, gee.
And he flew us back to Utah. And then,
story.
Yeah. And, he was standing in the doorway and he said, you don't know who I am, do you? And I just looked at him and I said, yes, I was reading a book about you last night on the way over.
Oh, man. What a story.
This hobby has given me so much. I've met so many people. I've been so lucky. I got into it at the right time.
You
really
had some good experiences. We got a question from Ricky T. He would like to know, do you find any U.S. coins on the battlefields?
Yeah, lots of them. Yeah, lots.
Of U.S. coins?
U.S. coins, yeah.
Oh,
silver dollars.
Pardon me?
Silver dollars.
Silver dollars. No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
I must have 30, maybe 40.
U.S.
silver.
Yeah. That's
I think they wanted something from home, There's lots of English coins as well, but you'll find a pocket or pocket spill, but you'll have one American coin amongst all the English coins.
Okay, that's cool. That's interesting. Oh goodness, I saw one comment up there from Prospecting Mule said that your story was amazing about the general for sure.
Well, on that same trip, have you ever heard of the Pegasus Piper?
No.
No, I don't.
You've heard of Pegasus Bridge?
No.
Right. So 1 minute after 12 o'clock on D-Day, the British were the first to hit the French soil. They came in by glider. They came in gliders. they landed at Pegasus Bridge that went across the Orne Canal. So they captured the bridge. The first building liberated on D-Day happened to be a bar. You couldn't make it up. So they held that bridge until the commandos had come up from the beach. And the commandos came up from the beach, and it was Lord Lovat's commandos, and they were led by the piper, and he played the bagpipes over the bridge. So I met Bill Milling, who was the piper. I met him on the same trip, stayed friends with him, and once I'd learnt to drive, I used to take Bill back to France every year.
Nice.
We're sitting in the cafe that was the first building liberated. We're sitting in there one day, and we're having dinner, and Bill was like royalty. If you were with Bill, you didn't pay for anything. It was great. It really was good. So we're sitting in there, we're having dinner and a glass of wine, and the door opens and this family walk in, and they're German. Now there's an older guy, there's a younger guy, and the older guy's wife, and the younger guy's wife, and a young child. The old man had been firing on the beach that Bill landed. So he was in the German army and he was defending that beach. And he came in, the cafe owner, she's not a very nice woman. And she hates the Germans. I can understand why, but the war's over. And she trying to kick them out. And Bill said, if you kick him out, I'll never come back. He said, he's my guest. His family are my guests. So they all came and sat with us. And of course, she hated that because she had to give them free meals because they were with Bill. So she absolutely hated that. So he's pointing up at the picture on the wall of Bill with the bagpipes. And he said, he was loco, and he told the story through his son. His son was a doctor, spoke better English than I do. And he explained that his father was on the beach when they landed. He said, and this mad piper was walking up and down the beach playing the bagpipes. He didn't have a gun. All he had was bagpipes. He said, and they were told to shoot at him. He said, and we all thought he was mad. So we shot above him. We shot to either side of him, but we never shot at him. So that he's telling his story, and Bill's sitting there quiet, just listening to it. And he's got this cheeky little grin on his face. And he reaches under the table, pulls out his bagpipes, and he points to the picture. And he points to himself, says, it's me. He's got the bagpipe. This German nearly collapsed. And they stayed friends forever, till they passed.
Story.
But I met so many veterans from the First and Second World War. I am so lucky. I really am. And that's this hobby's done it for me.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like we had another question, and I've got this one too. But Sam Truckley says, what about gold coins? Have you found any gold coins? Nope.
I've never found gold in my life. I don't know what I'd do unless it had a swastika on it. I'm not interested. If it's ancient Roman gold, not interested.
Oh, okay.
It's it doesn't interest me. It's military history is my thing, and the gold, great if you find it, but it doesn't do anything for me. I know that's strange, but I'd rather find a rusty lump of metal that I know was used in some conflict.
Yeah. Now, did you find German coins too?
Yes, lots of them. Yeah, lots of them. We've got a whole display case full of German coins. But we've got so much. One of our guys he collects German stuff. He's even got these pieces of paper, and I've never ever seen one of these. And it's a deportation paper for the Jews. So it's all in German. It's got a fingerprint at the bottom. It's got the stamp of the eagle and the swastika, and it's their deportation papers telling them what train they're getting on and where they're going.
Hmm.
That's scary to me.
It is. It's a tough part of history.
Yeah.
Sure.
Now, here's a comment from Ricky T. He says, you need to write a book about your many stories and the famous characters / soldiers you've met.
Yeah.
That'd be a good, cool book. That would be an
Yeah, it would.
interesting book.
Yeah. You know, I even met Montgomery. So yeah, I've met quite a lot of famous people. All the guys that took Pegasus Bridge, they used to meet up once a year and have a dinner. Well, because Bill was the famous piper that led the commandos over the bridge, he always used to go to this. And it was the Ox and Bucks. And I got invited one year because Bill was going. He said, come on, you come along with me. I'll make sure there's another seat laid. Oh, God, I thought I could drink. But these old guys, I've never seen people like, yeah, they drunk like fish. I honestly never seen people drink like it. Yeah, I like a drink, but God, they were putting it away.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they were
some stuff.
feeling like they were lucky to still be there.
Yeah.
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 And they probably were indeed.
Yeah, definitely.
And you find a lot of the German artifacts from their soldiers too, I expect.
Yeah, we do. There's just we find everything. But we found a gas mask container. Do you know what the German gas mask container looks like?
No. You have one there?
No, not with me. It's like a tube with a lid on the top. So we dug this up and thought, oh, just another gas mask container. And we said, oh, let's have a look, see if the gas mask is in there. So we pried it open and opened it. There wasn't a gas mask in there. There was all the letters, because these things were waterproof as well.
Mm-hmm.
There was all the letters, his letters to his sweetheart that she had sent from his sweetheart, and photographs. And we eventually tracked the family down for those and returned them.
Nick, a lot of people don't realize. They think about World War II, even World War I with the Germans, and they forget that the German people were put upon just like everybody else.
Oh God, yeah.
And they're not. They weren't the Nazis. The Nazis was a separate entity, and people.
There was a very small minority.
All Germans with that, and that's just not the case. A lot of the Germans, the general population of Germany, was put upon a great deal as well.
Yeah, well, most of the people in Britain didn't want to go to war.
Yeah.
No sane person wants to go to war.
No, they don't.
No.
Yeah. Let's
well, it
face
was
it.
The same here.
Yeah. Most people want to just get on and live their lives.
Right.
But yeah, it was a small minority that were Nazis. But if you didn't do what they said, you got the chop.
Yeah. Well, they set upon even the German people, because a lot, even with the Jews, a lot of them were Germans.
Oh yeah.
So that was a sad time.
So.
Sure.
And a lot of people don't realize the significance of the swastika. They think the swastika, that Adolf Hitler came up with it, and that's not the case.
No, Hindus did.
Yeah.
And it's old.
Yeah,
and
Hindus
it had
came
a good
up with
meaning before Hitler took it.
Well,
over.
even in the 1920s, they were building houses in England with a swastika above the door because it was for luck.
For good luck.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's still houses down in the West Country in England where there's a row of houses and they've all got swastikas above the door.
Yeah. We find old artifacts. I see it looks like a 50 cal.
No, this is a 20 millimeter.
20 millimeter.
That's from aircraft.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So that was found. Have you ever heard of the Falaise Gap?
No.
Right. So the Falaise Gap, after we'd landed in Normandy, the Battle of landed on D-Day. The Battle of Normandy started. We captured 100,000 Germans in the Falaise pocket. The Americans came in from their beaches and came round. British and Canadians came round, and the Polish, and we trapped them. And they had what's called the Corridor of Death. Now, it literally was a ford to cross a river. That was the only way out, and a tiny little corridor that was no more than 100 yards wide that they were trying to escape through. And if you look up the Corridor of Death on Google, you'll see some of the black and white pictures, or the Falaise pocket, the Falaise Gap. It was horrific. It really was.
I can't imagine the atrocities. I just can't. I can't.
Oh,
But
it
we
was
have
horrendous.
we
It
have
was
a
horrendous.
comment from the Prospecting Mules, and he says, "Can
Okay.
we commission Nick to write another book? I think we would have about 50 pre-orders right now."
Well, I'm writing one on military artifacts at the moment. I'm hoping to get that done middle of the year, middle of next year. So once that one's done, it's, I hadn't thought about writing about my memories, but why not? Yeah,
Yeah, people would.
people.
Well, see, Nick, there's a lot of people like Phil and I. We didn't know a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Just think of all
Americans
these
don't
people
know.
out here. If you write another book, you got to let me know. We're going to get you on here. Phil will carry it in his shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Well,
very interesting.
I started in this hobby because my dad got me out in the back garden digging the potatoes up. Now, as an 8-year-old, Dad calls you to help dig the potatoes. You're out there, you're digging the potatoes up, and up comes a clip of 303 bullets, and they're live. And he said, "You can't have them." And next door to us was the police house. We had the policeman living next door to us. So he goes and knocks on his door and says, "I've got these." He said, "Oh, I'll get bomb disposal out." So the army came down for a clip of 303 bullets. So a
Jeez.
Land Rover turns up, and they look at them. Okay, pulled the heads out, poured the cordite on the floor, lit it, put the heads back in. Said, "Do you want it, Nipper?" I was hooked. That was me. I was hooked.
Yeah.
I was literally hooked. So my father came home from work the next day, and there's holes all over his garden. Well, I'm just going, "Oh, might be some there, might be some there." So a couple of days later, he came home with a Second World War mine detector. And these things are heavy. I've still got it. We've got it in the museum. Now, he strapped it to a pram so we could push it round the garden. And if it made a noise, we'd dig.
Nice.
That's how I got started.
Very interesting. Hey, Nick, I had a question for you. When you're going on these trips in France, does the French government, do they want these artifacts that you find, or?
Yeah, you're not allowed to dig on battlefields in Europe, full stop. No, you're not allowed to dig anywhere on battlefields.
Okay.
But because we do the retrieval of the fallen, we've got permission to dig.
Okay.
So, we're allowed to show our paperwork to a farmer and say, "We think there's remains on this farm." Okay, go ahead and dig. So we've got paperwork from the French government, the American government, the British government saying that we can do it.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, do they want the artifacts, or do you get to bring them back to your museum?
No, then, as long as there's nothing live, they don't care.
Okay.
They've got so much of it out there.
Right. And then you can display it in your museum or your collection.
One of my favorites, he dug that up. Oh, wrong way. There you
Oh,
go.
that's cool.
2 machine guns. That's First World War heavy machine gun cruise cat badge. That's one of my favourite that I dug up. That was dug up on the Somme.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that
Now
was
the
a
Somme
big
was
battle.
huge. The bloodiest battle Britain's ever been in.
Yes.
That is a Vickers machine gun. We've got a Vickers machine gun that was on the Somme,
Oh, geez.
but you look at it, it looks like it's just come out the showroom.
No kidding.
No
Yeah.
kidding. Wow.
Okay. Well, we had a comment from my good friend who also works here with me on Saturday. He's Joe Vizzi. He says, "What a great show. I truly enjoyed the stories and information Nick gave out to us. I've always been interested in World War II." And that's, everybody's interested in that. That's
Yeah.
that's really incredible history.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Yes.
I'm just reading one here. Does he have a website? The museum has a website. We've just set that up. So that's the mhm.org. That's for the Military Heritage Museum. And then
Okay.
I've got a Facebook group that's got 5,000 members on, and that's Metal Detecting for War Relics.
Okay.
I'm laughing about a comment from Ricky T. He said, "Now I've got to go to Europe to dig my first U.S. silver dollar."
We get fed up with them.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah,
That
there's
is
such a
funny.
large coin, it's hard to lose them. So you'll find dimes all the time.
I don't think it'd be hard to lose it in a battle.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
How it got there, you can only surmise.
Yeah, yeah. Whatever we dig up, especially personal items, it's you dig it up and you think, how was this lost? We've got razors, British razors, and you think there's nothing else around. There's no cartridges. There's nothing. You think, how the hell did they lose it? And it's just you'll never know.
No, you just don't know. Anything like that. And like
Yeah.
you say, the pocket spills. Um,
Oh,
why were they carrying money in their pockets?
yeah. I know.
There was no place to spend it.
No.
Yes.
No, because they were all issued invasion currency.
Right.
So they were all given the invasion currency was printed in England and sent. They were literally every man was given a certain amount, depending on your rank, depends how much you got. And we've got some original invasion currency, but that was what they needed for fun. They didn't need English coins and American coins.
No, they didn't need the coins there. Well, Nick, our hour is gone.
You're joking.
We have
hasn't it?
a request.
Yeah.
We have it from Shannon Bortner. He wants you to share those links and websites on the Treasure Talk page. And if you will email those to me, Nick, I will get them on the page.
Yes.
Yeah, I will do that. I will do that with pleasure. And if you want me to come back, all you've got to do is ask, and I'll get a load of artifacts, and we'll have a show and tell if you want.
There you
That
go.
works for me.
That works for me too, Nick. This was one of my favorite shows for sure. Just the history that we're learning here about World War II.
Oh, it's
So-
amazing. It's amazing. Some of the stories.
It's always nice to speak to people. Your history isn't that old, is it?
no, it's not.
And you haven't got you've got the American Civil War and the War of Independence,
Yeah.
but there's not much to be found, is there?
There,
No.
Where in Europe we've got so much.
Yes, for sure. So I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jocelyn. And thank you to all of our many members.
Have a happy Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. And Kathy Bicorn says, great guest. Thank you, Nick. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Well, Thank you to
Yes,
everyone in
indeed.
America, and happy Christmas.
And thanks for staying up with us, Nick. We appreciate it.
Yes,
Oh, I won't be
everybody-
going to bed for another 2 hours yet, so it's
Yeah, you're going to be back. Trust me.
yes.
You're
Okay.
going to be back.
it's been
So when
it's been a pleasure.
And we're going to talk about that book some more. So
Yeah, okay.
everybody,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve. We want
Yeah.
to everybody remember to say some prayers for Tiffany, Pacific Northwest Dirt Fishing, and say prayers for everybody that you know and love for a prosperous Christmas and a happy new year. And we will see you next week with our year-end recap. And there's going to be some Sazich. And I'm sorry we didn't do a giveaway tonight. We were so caught up.
Yes.
We didn't do it. Next week we're going to give away some Zazich
There you
and
go.
some coveted towels. So
Yes.
everybody, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. Phil, I love you, brother.
We'll see, guys.
Everybody out there, thanks so much for joining
Happy
us.
Christmas.
And we'll see you next week. Nick, good to see you. Have a happy Christmas. Thanks,
And you.
everybody. Happy hunting and dig deeper and Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.